Does it seem like at times that you are struggling to find time to pray or even to perform the act of prayer itself?
That's what I'm trying to do. Now, I'm just one man.
Prayer is an essential part of our spiritual journey, but it's hard to have the journey when you're struggling to pray or just pray at all, right? So stay tuned today on this video and on this channel as we give 7 tips to people who are struggling to pray. What is going on, YouTube, and welcome to or welcome back to Faith Like That. We are a Christian ministry that is dedicated to helping you raise the level of faith in your life and your walk with God. So if you haven't done so already, please connect with us and subscribe to our channel. We want to add value to you, and the best way to do that is to make sure you know when our videos are coming out, but not just subscribing, but hitting that bell icon. All right, so once again today on this video, we're talking about 7 tips to help anyone who is struggling to pray. We want to help you overcome these challenges so you can develop a deeper connection and spiritual life and spiritual journey with God. So you ready? We got 7 for you. Let's get right into it. The first tip I have for you if you're struggling to pray is to use a prayer book or a prayer guide. Now, you can find these on Amazon or any other bookstore that you may approach or go to, or maybe even on the website, right? But these books have prayers in them already, or they have functions where they're more so like guided prayer to give you things to pray about, to give you like sort of a workflow or a process of how you pray and what you do, and they can really help you overcome hurdles when you're struggling to pray at all, right? Or specifically, if you're new to prayer itself, you may not exactly know how to pray effectively, and these books can help you do that. So if you're struggling to pray, I would recommend one of the first things you do is you find a prayer book or a prayer guide.
That's a useful guide.
The second tip that I have for you if you are struggling to pray is to find a quiet and peaceful place for you to pray. Look, this is 2023 and this world is full of distractions. Just the cell phone itself can be a distraction at times. Every time you go to pick it up and look at it, you end up doing something you didn't intend on doing, or find yourself on social media an hour later and still haven't done the thing that you actually got on the phone to do. So it is a distraction that we always have with us. And to really get deeper with God, to develop a connection with God, you have to free yourself from these distractions so you can go deeper with Him. And one of the ways you do that is maybe leave the phone in the restroom or on the kitchen table or counter while you go in the room and you pray, so the phone can't distract you. That you go away from a TV or people that are talking or not praying so you can pray. And you find a quiet and peaceful place, because it can be quiet but still be a very stressful place for you. And you can go in there and still be distracted because you're stressed out. So find a quiet and peaceful place to pray, and it will help you overcome that hurdle of being distracted from prayer and struggling to pray.
Just let me do it in some peace and quiet, all right?
Tip number 3 for those who are struggling to pray is to use prayer beads or a rosary. Again, this is 2023, and outside of Catholicism, you usually don't see Christians at non-denominational churches with rosaries or prayer beads. But it is something for you at your home in your own personal prayer. You could use these to help you stay focused on the moment, right? Kind of how that works is you got something in your hand as the rosary or the beads, and you using those beads to kind of assign different steps in your prayer time or prayer workflow or process to say, okay, I prayed for this, or this was supposed to be a prayer for this is a prayer for that, or these are certain scriptures I say based upon the bead that I'm holding or I'm on. So as you kind of flip through those beads and you move them around in your hand, then you can remember, oh, this is where I am, and stay anchored on the task at hand, which is prayer. So if you're struggling to pray, maybe check out some prayer beads or a rosary.
That a rosary? No, prayer beads.
All right, tip number 4 when you are struggling to pray is to try meditation first before you begin to pray. So this is one that I've seen be extremely effective myself, is that At first, I did not want to try meditation. I thought it seemed really far out there and very liberal thinking and very new age, right? But someone mentioned to me that it's great to be mindful and for mindfulness and to just put yourself in a state where you're I guess more relaxed and less stressed out. But what I found when I did that is that where I used to struggle to pray, that when I meditated first, that when I started praying, I was very mindful of the time and the task at hand. I was mindful of what I was seeing or receiving from God and what He may have showed me or what I experienced in the time. And there was less distractions or less chances of my mind getting latched onto something that was happening later today or tomorrow or next week and me losing focus on the prayer at hand. That the meditation really helped me to ground myself in the moment and clear my mind and relax me to where when I started praying that I was able to do it really effectively and a lot better and longer than I used to. So I would highly recommend that if you're struggling to pray, that you begin the practice of meditation, and then as soon as you get done with your meditation, you move right into prayer.
Meditate on it.
So tip number 5, when you are struggling to pray, is to write down your prayers before you pray them or to journal them afterwards. So for some people, this seems to feel a bit inauthentic to write down my prayer before I actually pray it. But for others, it's really helped them to stay focused on what they want to pray for and not to forget about things they wanted to pray for before they got to praying. So maybe something happened during the day at lunch and I usually pray in the morning, that by the time the next morning happens, I forget about it. So I remember because I have it written down and I just refer back to it in my prayer, right? But then also it helps a lot of people to stay focused. Stay focused on the task at hand because I have it written down. I have a plan for what's about to happen when I get in the game, right? I'm in the game of prayer and I'm down praying and I know this is my plan, this is what's about to happen, and it really helped to write it down. Now also, the journaling of your prayer time, of what happens during your prayer, is also very effective, and it helps you develop a stronger connection with God. Because now the things that happened in prayer, the things that God showed you or revealed to you, or the feeling of His presence, then the things you are struggling with, that it helps to have it written down, because it's a reminder of I felt God's presence on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, even on Saturday when I prayed. And it was great to go back and to see that and reflect on those times and what I received out of prayer. Also, when you journal your prayers and the things you're praying for, then when those prayers are answered, it's a great way to track which prayers have been answered and have not been answered. So maybe you might be asking for things that have already been answered, or you don't remember what is or isn't answered. But you know now because you journaled them, so you can track and say, God answered most of the prayers I prayed this year already. And so, hey, let's keep asking. Or some things that I'm asking for He may not have said anything about yet. He didn't say yes, but He didn't say no, so I can continue to pray because I have tracked and seen He hasn't said anything about it.
No, write it down. Write it down.
Tip number 6 for people who are struggling to pray is to use technology to your advantage. All right, now some of us are extremely distracted from our cell phone, but others may not have that struggle. And the cell phone and the technology may really help them to get things done and to be productive. If you're that kind of person, I would recommend, if you're struggling to pray, that you go ahead and look on the App Store, whether it's the Apple Store or the Android Store, and you try to find an app that's going to help you pray or get through prayer time. They have a bunch of them up there. Now, I just checked out an app the other day called Glorify that's supposed to help you pray and track prayers and have music to play while you're praying. There's a bunch of great stuff on there. A free app, again, called Glorify. They didn't pay me or they didn't contact me about saying anything about it, but I do want to tell you about it because it was a great app. But there are apps like that out there that you can use to help you overcome these distractions and this struggle that you're having in prayer.
Don't worry, I'll check it out.
All right, so for my 7th and final tip for people who are struggling to pray is to create a space that you have that's only for prayer. Now, let me tell you, consistency helps a lot of people. So when you have a consistent time and place where you pray, it's only going to help you, right? So what you should do, You should find a place in your house, apartment, wherever you're living at, where you can say, this is the corner that I pray in. You have it decorated for prayer. Maybe you want to light candles or have incense or have a certain diffuser that lets off a certain aroma that helps you when you're praying, right? That you want to have a certain chair or mat that you use when you pray. It's a yoga chair, but I use it for prayer because I pray for extended periods of time and my knees are getting not to be the best in my older age, right? So I sit on my yoga chair in my space with certain music on, and that helps me in my process of prayer. So I would recommend that you do the same if you're struggling to pray.
I'll try that. Uh-huh.
All right, so there you have it. 7 tips for people who are struggling to pray. So I highly recommend that you try any of these 7 to help you overcome these distractions and hurdles you're having with this struggle you're having to pray, right? So again, thank you for spending time with us today on this video and on this channel. If you have not done so already, please subscribe to our channel and hit that bell icon so you know when our videos are coming out. Also, hit that like button because you're still here. I feel like you liked it. Smash that like button. And until next time, have faith, be safe, and we'll see you soon.